Hello and welcome back, my fairies. I'm Matsuyorific, and we are back with Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir Season 6. Again, I am not really certain about which number episode this is, but this is going to be Werepapas. So this episode released in... I forget which language this is, but it's not in English. It's in, so I'm going based off of subtitles online, but based on the thumbnail that I'm seeing, it looks like this is going to be a Natalie episode. I mean, it could also end up having something to do with Adrien's bodyguard. I don't like calling him the gorilla, but I know everybody knows what I'm talking about if I say the gorilla. But the thumbnail also shows some older grannies, so definitely curious about who they are. I didn't see if there were any trailers out there, so once again, I am going to this episode blind, but I am really looking forward to seeing what Natalie's going to look like in her new design. It doesn't look like the bodyguard is getting a new design. It looks like his design is fairly similar. But I will say that I do find it interesting because Weredads was about Marinette's dad. Weredads was her dad. So it's interesting that we're getting Werepapas. I kind of assumed from the title that this would be about, like, at least somewhat related to Tom, but it might not actually have anything to do with him, so we'll just have to see. Once again, the artwork that you're seeing over on the side here is my imagining of what Kitty Noir would look like in Season 6 in my Gender Bend AU. Normally, I just feminize the original designs with only slight tweaks and changes, but there were certain aspects of Cat Noir's design that I felt like didn't really lend towards a female frame very well. Like, he looks great. I love how he looks, but I didn't really like how it looked on Kitty. So I decided to come up with my own design using elements from both Cat Noir's new costume and also the old costume as well. So I hope you all enjoy that. I was planning on putting this in my merch store, but unfortunately, even though the design is very clearly different from Cat Noir, they're like, oh no, it's copyright. It's like, I didn't even use the name Kitty Noir, because apparently that's also copyright. It's like, you can't copyright words. Anyways, with that out of the way, I am going to go watch the episode, and I will be right back. And I am back, and my goodness, this was another emotional roller coaster. I'm glad we got this episode because it answered a lot of questions. Before that, I just want to say, really? Really, Zag? You're telling me Emily's name is Emil? Emily's father's name is Emil? And Gabriel's mother's name is just a feminine version of his name? Which, Emil is basically a masculine version of Emily. Who keeps giving Zach permission to spy on me and my gender bend AUs? Seriously, first they steal Kitty Noir, then they steal Emil. At least they didn't steal Gabriella, but like Gabrielle is still really close, and I almost called her that because I just chose to call her Gabriella because if you slip up the pronunciation a little bit, you might accidentally say Gabriel, and that was something I was trying to avoid. But no. So yeah, we meet both sets of Adrien's grandparents. We meet Gabriel's grandparents, oh my gosh, no. We meet Gabriel's parents, and we meet Emily's parents. Well, Emily and Amelie's parents. And, oh my goodness. I love that we're getting an Adrien episode, first off. Yes, this is 100% an Adrien episode, and of course, I love it. Adrien fans are eating in this one. They gave us a feast. We get to see chibi Adrien as a child. Again, stop spying on me, Zag. I roleplayed as a young Weredad and Adrien in the Miraculous roleplay subreddit back when that was still on Reddit. Like, stop spying on me. Oh my gosh, why? I like, at this point it really does feel like they're spying on me. Like, oh my gosh, what is happening? But, oh my gosh. Okay, so to the episode. I'll try not to make this one as long as the last one was. So we start off with a flashback of Adrien sitting in bed with Amelie. Oh my gosh, not Amelie, Emily. Oh my gosh. Okay, calm down. Focus. Deep breath. Okay. Adrien is sitting in bed with Emily while she is sick, and Emily is telling Adrien about her parents. And she basically, I really love how she explained this. And, you know, there's a lot of parents, a lot of people from my generation or the generation that came after me are now parents of on their own, but also like a lot of our parents, we've realized, especially thanks to the internet and finding out, you know, what loving parents actually act like, have come to that realization that a lot of us had really toxic parents. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that everyone has a toxic parent or that it's the majority. We very much are the minority, but it was realizing that we were the minority that helped us to make this decision to go no contact with our toxic parents. And we find out that we get confirmation basically that Emily is no contact with her parents. And they kind of make it seem like she was the one who made the decision, because like Adrien says later on that Emily was the one who did not want them to meet her parents. Because like we knew that her family didn't approve of her relationship with Gabriel. Oh, he's just a common dressmaker. It's like, I love that they actually called him dressmaker later on, as a reference to how he was referred to during Felix's play. But Emily makes it very easy for Adrien to understand, because he is a child, and therefore making it easy for younger audiences to understand that sometimes our parents love other things more than they love us, and those parents who put their own desires above their child's well-being and happiness, are not good parents. And I love how she explains this. She says that being a daddy or a mommy means loving your children more than anything in the world. But sadly, her parents loved something else more than her. Which you can kind of infer that they loved their status as basically royalty more than they loved her. And they cared more about their status than they cared about her happiness, which is why she left. Which, again, plays into what we know from Felix's play. And Adrien's like, well, maybe we can find them. And she's like, well, maybe we will when I get better. Oh no, she's like, yeah, we're probably not going to. But then this makes Adrien question, well, does my papa love me? Because he's never here. And, oh, my heart broke so much, because he looks like he's like 7 or 8 years old, and he's already questioning whether or not his father loves him. My precious bean! Oh, my heart! I can't take it. Oh, the fact that as a young child he was already questioning that, like, oh my gosh, just thinking about it breaks my heart. Oh. So, yeah. That's but Emily does try to reassure him. She's like, oh no, your papa is out searching for something that will heal me, and then once I'm better, we'll stay here together forever. And it's like, oh, I get it. You want to comfort your child because you don't want to tell your young child that you are dying, that you are going to die, because, you know, at that really young age, they're gonna have a hard time coming to terms with that and understanding it. Adrien would have been 13 when she actually died, because we see the 1-year anniversary, so if he's 14 during seasons 1 through 5, then he would be 13 when she passed. So he would be a lot more emotionally mature and able to handle it at that point, but he is still a child, and still needs help with grieving. And dang it, Gabriel, you... I don't want to say that he's just as bad as Marinette's parents, because that would imply that Marinette's parents are just as awful and terrible human beings as Gabriel, so they definitely needed to do better, but they're still good parents. They're not perfect, but they're not awful parents. They just need to do better. Anyways, this is not about Tom and Sabine, although we will get to Marinette's family later on. We do see Adrien. He is mourning Gabriel. So we see him in a specific room, and it's hard to tell exactly what this room is. It could just be Gabriel's bedroom or something, because it does look like they are on another floor. Adrien just sort of closes the door and goes to hug Natalie. Yeah, I definitely don't recognize where they're at right now, because the room where he hugs Natalie in, there is lots and lots of greenery and stuff. It's very pretty in here, in this room. Like, I definitely do not recognize either of these rooms. We do see Gabriel's study later on in the episode at the very, very end, and that is definitely not the same room. But Adrien is still mourning his father. He's in this room thinking about his dad, and he sees Natalie behind him, and he just runs over. He is crying. Like, he even has to wipe his tears out of his eyes. You can tell that he is crying. And Natalie wants to comfort him. She wants to hug him back, but she is still insecure in her role in his life, because, like, she knows that Marinette has told her that, you know, you are basically Adrien's new mom, and that's not what she wants. She doesn't, well, like, she wants to be there for Adrien. She definitely cares about him, and she absolutely is a maternal figure to him, but she also cares about Emily, and she knows that she could never replace Emily, and she doesn't want to be a replacement for Emily. But she's so focused on not being a replacement to Emily that she completely misses the point of the fact that she still needs to be here for Adrien. Adrien needs a mother. He needs a parent, someone who will be there for him and help him through this hard time. Someone besides his teenage girlfriend who has her own mental health issues. Which I love that they point that out later. But, like, he needs her. He needs her now. And she's not emotionally ready to be what he needs, as much as she wants to be what he needs. But then she gets a call from Adrien's grandfather, Emile, saying that they need to have a family meeting. Which we don't really hear as much about that, because then we just cut to Marinette, and her family and her grandparents are over having a meal together. And I really do like that we get this scene, because it shows just how different Marinette's family life is from Adrien's family life, especially since we are getting to see both of her grandparents. And we've had episodes that focused on each of her grandparents before as well. We know that her grandma is always traveling. But you know, she still comes back to see her family, whom she still loves and adores, and they still love her, even though they don't see each other all the time. They're still really close. I mean, they're closer now because Gina didn't even realize Weredads was 14 now. But you know, they still have a loving relationship, and Roland was closed off completely. He was like full scale boomer. I mentioned like in my last video that my dad's a bit of a boomer, but he's like on a scale of 1 to 10. I would rate my dad as a 4. He's more ignorant than anything. But Roland, I don't want to list him as a 10 because he at least doesn't attack people for living different lives as him. We'll place him at an 8 or 9. He's not like he definitely was somewhat toxic, but he was not like the absolute most toxic. But like Roland was a lot higher up there than my dad, to be honest. But you know, he has seen through Marinette that he was wrong and learned that it's okay to embrace change, because embracing change also means getting to know his granddaughter and reuniting with his son and having a relationship with his family and remembering just how much he actually loves them. And I just love this scene overall. They start talking about you know, how nice it is to be there as a family, and then Tom and her grandparents just start bullying her. I don't mean bullying in like a bad way, but like lovingly bullying, like the kind of playful bullying that you do with like someone you care about who understands that you're not coming at them in malicious, that it's playful. But like Tom's like, you know, who else should be here? You've never officially introduced us to your boyfriend. It's like, oh yes, the young model, handsome as a princess. I love that. I love that line, handsome as a princess. Nobody questions it. Nobody should. But and they're all like, yeah, you should absolutely invite him over. Marinette's, I love Marinette's response. It's like, yeah, he's very, very handsome, but that's not all. He is more than that, and I love Marinette pointing out that Adrien is more than his looks. And she's like, he's not even a model anymore, you know? It's like, yeah. I love them acknowledge, even if it's just a simple line, just the acknowledgement that that it's more than his looks. Like, anyone who has watched this show with an open mind you, knows that Marinette loves Adrien for Adrien and not because he's a handsome model. We saw her go from infatuated to full on, I truly do love this boy. So I do love that little acknowledgement that, yeah, she sees him as more than just his looks. And Tom is like, you know, you still haven't, like, actually brought him over. Like, you need to actually introduce us to him as your boyfriend. In fact, why don't you bring him over for lunch on Sunday? And at first she's like, no, but I love the way that Tom, Gina, and Roland are just chanting, do it, do it, do it. Like, yes, we want to meet your boyfriend. Sabine, of course, being the voice of reason, is like, okay, calm down. This is her first relationship. Let her go at her own pace. And it's like, and then they're like, no, do it, do it, do it. I'm sorry, I loved that. I really did. Though I will say, I did notice something here. I pointed this out in the last video, that the picture that Sabrina had in her room, her and Chloe used the assets from the first 5 seasons. And if you look closely at their phones with Marinette and Adrien chatting with each other, if you look closely, they've got their little icons in the upper right-hand corner. Adrien's has his current model, but Marinette has her old model. If you zoom in, Like, without zooming in, you can already tell that her hair is a lot more blue than it is on her current model, which is what made me notice that at first. And then I zoomed in on it and realized, oh my gosh, that is her old model. You can tell because she's wearing her old jacket. I'm sorry, like, I kind of low-key love that. I know that, like, from an aesthetics standpoint, it's like, oh, well, you know, it should be uniform all throughout. It's like, nobody's going to notice it unless they're sitting here and dissecting every single second of this show. And really, who does that? It's not like any of us knows a person who does that. I mean, really. It's just a kid's show. It's not that deep. Sorry. But, they finally convinced Weredads to call Adrien, and she's like, hey, Adrien, do you want to come over for lunch on Sunday? And at first he's like, I'm sorry, but, she can tell that he is, like, concerned about something. He's like, I have plans. And, like, immediately she's like, is everything okay? But it's a different kind of reaction to how she normally reacts when Adrien can't or won't come to a date with her. It's very different from her reaction in the last episode when Adrien refused to go on their date because he knew that this was supposed to be her time with her friends and that was important. She can tell that this is very different, that he's not saying no because he doesn't want to come. He's saying no because something is wrong. We see through her facial and body language that she is concerned for him here. And I do love the nice little attention to detail there. So she asks him what's wrong, and he's like, you know how much I would love to have lunch with you on Sunday, but I have to meet my grandparents that day. And she's like, is that bad? Because she recognizes that he seems upset about it, the fact that he's having to meet his grandparents. And this is where he confirms that it's not just his maternal grandparents, Emil and his wife Millie, which also, if you combine their names, Emil and Millie, Millie, Emily. That's another nice detail. I do like that. He also mentions how he's also meeting his paternal grandparents. He's meeting Gabriel's parents, Johnny and Gabrielle. And he talks about how his mother always said that, she didn't want them to meet them because they were mean, and he's never heard anything about his paternal grandparents because Gabriel just would not talk about them. And Weredads like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe I could be there and help you out. I'm really good with grandparents. And he's like, that would actually be really great. Because it's not, to be clear, like, she even says it herself. The point is not because she wants to meet his family or even just to be with him. She can tell that he is nervous about this, that he is concerned, and she wants to be there for him. She's trying to be a supportive girlfriend, and I do love that. Like, good on her for being a supportive girlfriend. Also, I just noticed that her phone wallpaper is just the ladybug symbol, and it's like, okay. And also, Adrien's phone wallpaper is the Cat Noir symbol. That is actually kind of a fun detail. And Adrien's like, I would actually really love to have you there. That would be so helpful. But I don't know if that's going to work out. And Weredads like, give the phone over to Natalie. And then we cut, completely skipping over to Sunday. We see we see that Natalie is setting the table and everything, and she's talking about how strict Adrien's grandparents are. Putting a lot on sweet Millie. She's like, not, it's only family and employees. It's like, well, that's why I'm dressed as a maid. And we cut to Marinette wearing a cute maid outfit. I do like this maid outfit, and I think I like this one better than the old one. In fact, I just noticed that it has the same flower design on the apron as her old shirt. It's just flipped around a little bit, and I love that. So it's like, yes, she absolutely made this outfit to herself, and she looks adorable. Like, we've seen Marinette in a waitress dress before, but this is the cutest she's ever been. Like, oh my goodness, she looks adorable. I love it. I love the pink and the buttons, and she's really cute. But Natalie explains to them, about how it's, it's just family and employees, and then she mentions, well, I'm gonna need you both to tell me what happens afterwards, because I'm not invited. It's like, what? But you're practically Adrien's mom now. She's like, I could never replace Adrien's mother. And hearing her say that, like, Adrien's face says what my heart is feeling. That so much of this is breaking my heart. Like, my heart broke, and you could see it in Adrien's face that his did too. Hearing Natalie say, but I'm not his mom. And, like, we've known for a long time now that Natalie has been Adrien's mom for a while. She has been his mom. Like, she has taken up that role, whether she wants to acknowledge it or not. That is her role now. And that's how Adrien sees her too. He long accepted Natalie into the family. As far as he's concerned, she's always been part of the family. But then we get this giant gold helicopter landing in the front yard, and we meet the biscuit of the day. What is with season 5 and showing us parents that I want to punch in the face? Okay, calming down. The dad from episode 2 probably doesn't deserve to be punched in the face, because we do see him admiring his daughter's artwork later, but he did also redirect his anger onto his seemingly 4-year-old daughter, who did not deserve to be yelled at like that. But then we see him at the end trying to make up for it, so it's like, okay, I will let you slide. And then we get Sublime's mother, who, seriously, not name your child after words like that. So yeah, Sublime's mom wanted to punch her in the face. And then, well, I don't think Daddy Cop had a parent that, no, Daddy Cop was the only episode where I wanted to bravo all around. Like, Roger gets a round of applause. He's the only one. But also, we've known Roger before, so you could even say he doesn't count. So far, every time we get introduced to new parents, there's always one that you want to punch in the face. And Emil is the one I want to punch in the face. Because he is not only a biscuit to Adrien and Natalie, he's also that way to his wife. And Millie is sweet as sunshine. I love her. I love her so much. You can see so much of Adrien in her. Emil is the only one of Adrien's grandparents that I don't see Adrien in. I don't see a little bit of Adrien in Emil, but I do see a little bit of Adrien in the rest of his grandparents, and I absolutely love it! So Emil is basically like, you know, this estate used to be ours, until we gave it to our daughter and her dressmaker of a husband, but at least she had the decency of producing a halfway decent looking son. Screw you! Excuse me! You do not say be those things. There is such a thing as inside thoughts. And then there's also things that should not even be thoughts. You put those words back in your mouth, mister, or I will shove them in there. And then we meet his sweetest honey wife, Millie, and he just interrupts her. He's like, nope, you're not allowed to talk. And then we see Gabriel's parents, Johnny and Gabrielle, and I love these two so much. Especially their designs. Like, they're basically the hippie parents. Like, they're clearly not actually hippies, because they do work. They run a family business and everything. One that's also multi-generational. But will likely end with them, unless Adrien decides to take over their family business. That could be interesting. Possibly. That's possible. I'd be interested in seeing some fanfics about that. But they're even wearing matching outfits. They are Jagged Stone fans. They're wearing an inverted version of the Jagged Stone shirt that Luca used to wear. So his was like white with a black decal, and theirs is black with a white decal. And I love it. I love them. How did they produce somebody like Gabriel? I love them so much. Like, they ride in on a motorcycle, and then, like, as soon as you meet them, the first thing that they do after riding in on their motorcycle is Johnny leans over and kisses Gabrielle on the lips, and it's like, oh my gosh, they are a loving couple, and I love them so much. I also just noticed that Gabrielle has a cropped jean jacket, which of course matches her husband, but his isn't cropped. Gabriella has a crop jacket, and you guys know I love a good crop jacket. You know I love a good crop jacket. So they're being very polite and like, yeah, we're oh gosh, what was their last name? Because it turns out their last name is actually not Agreste. Their last name is Grasset. So that means that Gabriel changed his last name. Yo. Why would you not want to be associated with these adorably amazing people? I feel so bad for them. Their son wanted so little to do with them that he never told his son just how awesome they were, and then changed his last name so he wouldn't have to be associated with these totally amazing people. I love them so much. And then, of course, Weredads is just, the entire time, Weredads is giving Emil the stink eye. And, like, yeah. She kind of seems like she's giving it to Millie, but I want to think that, I want to try and say that she's probably just like, yeah, this is how Emil is treating her, and that's not right. Like, I want to, it is hard to tell, but, like, Emil definitely deserves that stink eye. They introduce themselves, and they also confirm that they are not married. They have been together long enough to have a grandchild, and they're not married. And that's just even more, oh, they're the hippie grandparents. I love it. I love it so much. Also, I just noticed that Gabrielle wears a ring on her right hand, and it's a flat ring, so it's not detailed like it's not detailed, of course. And I guess Johnny is also wearing one too. Like, I'm sorry, I'm loving the details for these two. Like, I love their designs. I love their characters. And it turns out that Johnny brought a special recipe. It starts to stink to high heaven, but Plag is like, ooh, that smells good. And it's like, that is 100% cheese in that box. And Adrien just immediately like, Plag, hide! Do not come out of my shirt! Like, Adrien's facial expressions, I absolutely love that. It's just like, oh no, Plag! And then, like, when Johnny is, like, Marinette's showing Johnny to the kitchen so that he can finish preparations for his snack. I forget what they're called. And I'm sure someone could probably mention in the comments what that dish is. So I'm sure it's got some sort of cultural significance, but it's basically a type of cheese. There's cheese inside. And that's what has Plag's interest. So Plag even then flies off, as they're walking inside, Plag flies out of Adrien's shirt to go follow Marinette and Johnny into the kitchen. And Adrien's just like leaning, like, oh, it might actually help if I was doing it like this. Like, he's just leaning, like, Plag, come back! Even though he can't actually say Plag's name, because then it'll be like, what are you talking about, Adrien? Who is Plag? It's like, my, cat? But, which, of course, you know, Marinette would be like, Plag? Wait, are you cat more? No. But he can't say that. He can't call out to Plag. He knows that he's like, Plag is causing trouble. He's causing chaos. So, they start having their... They're about to get down to business, and then Adrien's like, wait, actually, I need to go get something I quote-unquote forgot. He's like, Plag! Just searching the kitchen, like, oh my gosh, Plag, please, come out! And Marinette just thinks that he's nervous, so she follows him into the kitchen. It's like, it's okay, Adrien, we'll get through this. And he's like, yeah, thanks, Marinette. Looking around like, Plag, where are you? Oh... But, yeah, Emile, like, they come back into the dining room, and Emile is like, we need to discuss custody. And honestly, I had this thought. This was something that I thought about during the gap between seasons 5 and 6, was what's going to happen with Adrien, with the legal custody for Adrien. Obviously we all know that, you know, Natalie's taking care of him. But, like, I honestly was concerned that Amelie might try to bring Adrien to London. Though at the same time, I could also see Felix being like, no, Adrien is happy here with Marinette. And we shouldn't try to take him away from Marinette. I could definitely see Felix trying to talk Amelie out of that. For Adrien's sake, because he does care about Adrien. It's like, now that Adrien is all alone, and Marinette almost blows her cover, Adrien's not alone, in trying these amazing dishes! So basically, to cut this whole scene short, because I'm trying not to make this an hour long again, Emile wants guardianship of Adrien, but in order to gain guardianship of Adrien, he also wants, Johnny and Gabrielle to renounce any potential guardianship they might have and never come visit them at all. And which is like, that's not what Adrien wants, and he's just like, oh, you know, we're a prestigious family and everything. And which gets interrupted by the cheese being burned in the oven. Which gives Marinette and Adrien a chance to run back out and talk to Natalie. It's like, wait, what? There's no way. This can't happen. Adrien can't go live with that lord. And trying to get Natalie to intervene and step in, but she's like, I don't have the right to step in. I'm not his legal guardian. And, like, I'm not his mother. I don't have a legal right to Adrien and his guardianship. And it's like, ugh. Like, she has a point. This was something that I was very concerned about myself, because I just wanted Adrien to have a loving family. We go back into the dining room. Millie is trying to get into the cheese, and because she actually thinks it smells really nice, and she's like, oh, there's something still edible inside, and he's just bashing it. Like, he hasn't even tried it. He's like, if you want to poison yourself, then fine. But turns out she actually really liked the dessert, or not. I don't know. The cheese. I'm just gonna keep calling it the cheese. She really liked the cheese. Yeah, and she manages to interrupt Emil when he's reaching for Adrien's rings, because he has decided that the twin rings need to come back with them, and tells Adrien to give him the rings. And that freaks Marinette out, rightfully so, because if he is holding those rings and gives Adrien a command, he is forced to obey. And it's like, yeah, there are some real stakes here, because, yeah, that ring is very important, and Adrien doesn't even know how important that is. But Millie manages to interrupt with like, oh my goodness, this is so delicious! And it's like, yeah, like, it's Millie is so cute and adorable, I love her, but unfortunately Emil just can't let her be adorable. He's like, just sit there and suffer in silence like you always do. It's like, I want to punch him so bad. Do not stop me, because I am going to punch him. And then during his outburst, the rings sort of roll off the table. And so it's like, oh no, we've lost the rings. So they start searching for the rings. Emil then starts blaming Johnny and accusing Johnny of stealing the rings. And then Marinette starts looking for the rings as well. Plag is just stealing the cheese off of everybody's plates. He's phasing from underneath to snag a bite. He's basically being Tiki in that episode with in that King's Day episode. Like, he has found a new obsession and he wants more. He cannot control himself, just like Tiki. He has found a new cheese. And Emil is just trying to pressure Johnny to sign over guardianship of Adrien. And Adrien's just like, oh my gosh, they're deciding my future. Plag is running wild. I can't handle this. Oh, my poor baby. So then Emil starts getting out his checkbook and is basically like, well, how much do you want? And it's like, we're not going to sell him to you. It's like, oh, you're just trying to raise the bid. Name your price and be done with it now. It's like, my God, you cannot purchase family. They're not trying to be difficult, but they are upset with you because you are treating your family like an object. And if they do not punch you in the face, I will. But then finally, Millie has enough after Emil decides that her grumbling is unacceptable and her just sitting there enjoying the cheese is unacceptable. So he slaps out of her face and she just blows up on him, which reveals that the rings were under her plate the entire time. Emil grabs them, and then Marinette is like, okay, I have to stop him from giving Adrien an order while holding those rings. So she comes in and just tickles him, which makes him drop it. And then Millie's like, okay, now I've got the rings, and I'm going to go hide out in this other room here. And it turns out to be Gabriel's study. I didn't even notice it at first. I probably should have, because, like, of course, it's right across the foyer from the dining room. So yes, that would be Gabriel's study. And she just locks herself in there, and we get a little bit of a glimpse of what it's like in there. And everything is covered just like the room Adrien was in before. The windows are covered. So this is our first time actually seeing this room. Technically, it's our first time seeing Adrien's house. But Marinette looks through the peephole and sees Millie putting the rings on, and then the Akuma goes into the rings. Which is bad, because if those rings get destroyed, that could release the Amok, and Adrien's life could be on the line. So Marinette's like, oh my gosh, is there a key or something? We gotta get in there. And she comes out. It turns out her name is Ringmaster. And the Weredads are actually the Were-Granddads. She turns both Emil and Johnny into werewolves with boxing gloves. so that she can force them to fight each other, because they're either going to prove which one is strongest and decide which one Adrien should go with, or they're going to destroy each other and Adrien will have that freedom. And it's like, oh my gosh, she is basically their Sabine. But she takes them up to the sky. It's kind of a repeat of Weredads, except now it's a stadium. Marinette tells Natalie's like, hey, go take Gabrielle to safety, I'll go get help, and Natalie understands that that means she's going to transform into a ladybug, so she's like, yes, okay, this is the plan. Marinette needs to go save Adrien. So Marinette transforms, and we finally get a transformation sequence! And I really hope we get another one, because this is Marinette in a different outfit. But we get to see that while the transformation sequence is mostly the same with the same poses, there are some slight differences. Before, her transformation sequence had her, like when Tiki went into her earrings, the spots just appeared one after another. But in this one, there is a split animation where it just separates like ladybug wings, and then the spots all start to appear. So I do like the new detail in that. And then she transforms, very similar transformation sequence as before, and we get to see that there is a new texture to her suit as well. So before, the suits were very shiny, and this suit actually looks like it's made out of fabric. Like there's even seam lines on it, which I never noticed before, but it has seam lines, and that's really cool. And we get confirmation that yes, her yo-yo does simply stick to the spots on her hips, so that's really cool. That's a cool new detail. And then we get the same spin. Her legs go way too high into the air, and she does the exact same pose as before. So that was cool to see. Now we just need one of her transforming in her regular outfit. Please do not make this a repeat of Lady Noir and Mr. Bug. Though I really want to see Lady Noir and Mr. Bug in this series. Please give us Lady Noir and Mr. Bug. So they're all up at an arena, it's like a boxing arena, and we saw Ringmaster in the trailer, so now we know that that was Adrien's grandmother. And she's basically just forcing the two of them to fight. And like, we even get this comedic little moment where they're like, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you either, but you've got a funny way of showing it. It's like, I can't help it. It's like, yeah, that was interesting. That was fun. But they're fighting each other against their will, and Adrien is trying to get out because he is stuck. He is trapped inside of a giant trophy case. Like, Princess Jasmine's line is just ringing in my head. I am not a prize to be won. And that is Adrien. Adrien is not a prize to be won, but he is now literally a prize to be won. Flag suggests that he transform and destroy this place, and is like, I can't. Everyone will know that I'm Cat Noir. And Flag's like, oh, okay, well then, why don't we enjoy this cheese for now? And it's like, dang it, Flag. So Ladybug then shows up. She tries to talk sense into Ringmaster, but she's just not having it. 5-5 fights. Ladybug manages to get back the rings. I know I'm skipping over it, but yeah. Trying not to make this an hour long. But Ladybug manages to get back the rings, and she is faced with a dilemma. By the way, Adrien did transform into Cat Noir to send her a message to be like, hey, I saw that thing in the sky. I'm on my way, but I might be a while. It's like, oh, Cat Noir. Really? It's like, yeah, because, yeah, he literally can't go. But she manages to get the rings back, and she hesitates. Like, she looks up at Adrien and is like, what is this going to do to Adrien? And this was something that I was honestly concerned about. It's like, what's going to happen if if what's going to happen if an Akuma goes into those rings and they have to be destroyed. And Ladybug is like, she doesn't want to destroy them. She doesn't want to risk Adrien no longer existing, but she knows that it's the only way to de-akumatize his grandmother. So she smashes it with her yo-yo into 2 pieces. Each ring goes into 2 pieces, but she manages to only release the Akuma. I don't know exactly how this works. I don't want Adrien to disappear, so I'm glad that it did work. I'm just... that is a bit of a concern. It's like, how did you make sure not to release the Amok? But, she captures the Akuma, releases it, or the the Ultra Kuma. They're called Ultra Kumas now. She fixes the rings, and the trophy disappears, and Adrien is safe and sound. And she just breathes a big ol' sigh of relief. It's like, yep, he is safe, and he didn't notice anything, so it's like, okay, he's fine. And I love that Emil and Johnny are just hugging because they're so afraid of what's going on now. And they're like, nope. And then Millie's just like, oh, I think I just ate too much cheese. I love that. And of course, Ladybug gives them the magic charm and everything, because we gotta do that now. And Adrien starts looking for Weredads, and this is where we get 2 glimpses that I was like, 2 shots that I'm really happy to see, because they're basically just the new models. So we get a more wide shot of Gabriel's office, which is how I first realized, oh my gosh, everything in Gabriel's office is covered. And then we get to see Adrien's new room. The boy got an upgrade to his room. So he now has arcade machines in his room, and that boring white couch is gone. There is now a little stage in the corner, and I'm just like, does he practice there with kitty section? Please, I need to see that. And we even get to see that he has a new couch. It's very colorful. We don't get to see too much of it because of the way the shot is set up, but yeah, like, Adrien got an upgrade to his room. So it looks a lot more fun. So I do like it. He probably couldn't have his room looking this fun because of Gabriel, but now Gabriel's gone, so... we go back to the dining room, and Adrien says, I don't know what I want to do. And Marinette's like, Natalie, get in here. Listen, I am just a teenager. I'm Adrien's girlfriend, and I am a teenager. I cannot decide for him, nor can I stop his grandparents from fighting for custody. But you are an adult, and Adrien needs you right now. You're the one who has been taking care of him. You're the one who has become a mother to him. And just saying out loud what, like she had to say some of this to her before, but not like in this kind of context. Like, it is a little bit different to what she said to her before. But it is very similar to the conversation that they had about how Adrien needs Natalie because he needs a mother. And she's like, well, I'm not his mother. It's like, Adrien's not my son. I have no rights. And by rights, she means legal rights, not like she doesn't have the right to be a mother to him. And then Gabrielle comes in and is like, well, Jagged once said that you're the one who loves him, so you're his mom. It's like, did he really say that? Well, if he didn't, then he should. I love that. I love that they're just as big Jagged Stone fans as their grandson. Imagine if they knew that Adrien not only knows Jagged Stone, but is good friends with his son. Oh, oh my goodness. I need to see more of his brand. I need to see more of these two. I need more Johnny and Gabrielle. I need more Millie. I don't need any more Emil. Emil can go crawl in a ditch before I punch him in the face. So then Adrien is like, listen, we can still be family, and maybe I could come to see you guys over holidays. And they're like, oh yes, we would absolutely love that. And Emil is about to protest, and Millie's just like, no, this is a good idea. You're in more need of a mother than you are of a crest. We'd be delighted for you to welcome you anytime. And Johnny even invites them to come over and visit them. And she's like, oh, maybe you can make us more of that cheese. And they're like, yeah, we'll make you plenty of stuff. And Emil's like, honestly, Millie. She's like, Emil, stop it. Just admit already, you love French fries. And then he finally gets that one moment. It is not enough to redeem him. But, like, it does get Johnny and Gabrielle's, it does pique their interest. And they're like, ooh, do you really? You like French fries? And he's like, eh. He's got a slightly silly moment there. It's like, eh. It's like, okay, that is not enough to redeem you. I will let them have this. I am letting that slide for the sake of Gabrielle and Johnny and Adrien and Millie and everyone else here except for you. For their sake, I will let it slide. Not yours. But then we get the shot that I was talking about before, the thumbnail, where they're just enjoying the French fries. It's like, that's cute. It's so cute. And even the bodyguard is having fun. It looks like he's even taking a selfie with the fries. He's like, yeah, this is really cute. I like this. It's cute. It's adorable. But then we get the post-credits scene. And looks like Keith Silverstein isn't quite done voicing Gabriel just yet, because we get another flashback cutscene of Gabriel and Natalie returning home. Gabriel immediately goes to his study. Adrian's like, Father, you're home. Did you find the Papa, you're home. Did you find the medicines? Like, no. You gonna leave again? Door shut. Not another word. It's like, how? How did those sweet people produce a man as cold as this? And then we see Natalie come in. She notices that Adrien is really sad. And she's like, listen, once your mother's healed, your father will stay here with the both of you forever. And she comforts him. And then Emily sees this. And I think this is why she left that message for Natalie. Because she knew that even if Gabriel couldn't move on and continued with his fool's errand, that Natalie would still look after Adrien. No matter what, Natalie would make sure Adrien was safe. And she knew in that moment, you can see it in her face, that she knew she could entrust her son to Natalie. And I truly believe that she is resting in peace, knowing that her son is in good hands. And that is where we're going to end this one for today. So definitely let me know what you guys thought of this episode. It was so much fun getting an Adrien-centered episode. Marinette barely had anything to do this episode. She was just kind of there. She's there to be a supportive girlfriend, and she's there to be Ladybug. And that was about it. And also to give Natalie the push that she needed, as well as kind of giving Adrien the push that he needed to show Natalie that Marinette is right. He does see her as his mother figure. And it's like, Emily, like, this is what Emily wanted. But definitely let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And please, once again, just a reminder to be respectful. If you disagree with anything that I have said today, or disagree with anybody in the comments, I only ask that you please be respectful as you discuss things in a calm and healthy manner. Thank you all for joining us today. As always, if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos from me. We do all sorts of fun stuff on this channel, including playing video games, we do art, and also sometimes talk about cartoons and anime. So if you enjoy that stuff, then be sure to ring that bell icon to never miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I hope you all have a very magical day.